we have the idea of redefining a base class's functions. Now, before we get into it, maybe a distinction that's best to be made here is that redefining and overloading are not the same thing. Remember, when we overload a function, we have a function that has the same name but accepts different parameters. So if we have an average as a function and one of the functions we define takes integers as arguments and the other one takes doubles. Now that is overloading. In redefining, we would have a function in the base class that is different in its derived class. So here, if we scroll, it's way down, you can see, frankly, the easiest example to point at is way down here on 941, and it is program 15-8, and it is actually the one that we are going to see in the code sample as well. We have just a cheap and dirty base class, and base class has a display message in it. And then we have a derived class from it, and is really cleverly named its derived class. Now, derived class also has a show message function in it. Now, when you and C++ goes through and it actually instantiates these objects of those classes, they are bound to the kind of class that they are. So in this case, B, it is on line number 26, is bound to the base class, whereas D on line 27 is bound to the derived class. So when B calls to show message, it is going to call to the class that it is derived from, the base class. When D calls to its show message, it is going to point back to its show message function. So what here is the point of having a redefined function? Well, that's the whole point of having programming in the first place, right? So what we're able to do here is say, look, even though we are deriving from our base class, we might need to be more granular in the way it is that we do something when we get to our specialized class. So anything we do in our base class can essentially be, in this case, it's, and let me get you back here to the name, redefined. It is redefining the functionality there so that the developer is always in control of what it is that the object is capable of doing. Look, your more specific classes might have a more specific need, and you should be able to redefine that. That's the whole point here. And it works in the developer's favor.